Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm on an Instagram Live, and as soon as I see my good friend, Don McEachin, I am going to bring him in. He's going to join me today so we can talk about climate change, my favorite subject. Because I'm always finding ways to make our environment better. So I am waiting for Don McEachin to join me. It's a beautiful day here in Albuquerque. And as you can hear, there's people outside working on their yards, but I love being outside on a day like this. It's a little warm, but otherwise very nice. Hi, Susan. My friend Susan Skirman. Nice to know that you're out there. And I'm waiting for Don McEachin. Hi, Debbie Cakes. Thanks for joining me today. Nice to see you all. So I am super proud to have been, I'm super proud to be on the Natural Resources Committee to move some of these things forward. Super proud to have been on the Oh, you're welcome for my statement on the downwinders today. Super proud to have been on the Platform Drafting Committee. And I'm still waiting for Don McEachin to ask to join me. But let's talk about climate change nonetheless. That's the most important issue of our time. And I'm going to do everything I can while I'm in Congress to make sure that we are passing the legislation, making the changes, creating the policy. Hi, Christopi. Nice to see you. And there's my daughter, Soma. She joined as well. Hi, Soma. I guess I'll see you later on this evening. But we've got a lot of work ahead of us. Some of the warmest temperatures ever found in places where it shouldn't be warm, and wildfires and water shortages and all of these things. So we are going to do our best. So it looks like Mr. McEachin has technical difficulties. I totally understand what that's like because I have them all the time. Hello, Mario Enriquez. Thank you so much for joining us. Jennifer Vanderhyde. Thanks, everybody. Happy to have you here. So I might as well take the opportunity to just kind of let you know some of the things that we're working on. A 30 by 30 resolution that would preserve 30% of lands and waters by 2030. Right now, our 2 minutes, he says. Right now, our public lands are emitting 25% of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, 25% of carbon into the atmosphere. Carbon we need to contain that as much as possible, and we can do that if we stop having, if we start using our public lands more wisely. 25% carbon on our public lands is entirely too much. So we are working on that resolution, and that's one of the things that perhaps we'll talk about today. We know that President Trump has had some NEPA rollbacks. We're going to talk with Don about that. And what does it mean for our communities of color? You might know that our communities of color oftentimes have to take the brunt of what climate change is bringing us, and what not taking care of our environment means. Right now, you probably know that in the northwest corner of our state of New Mexico, we have the biggest methane cloud floating above that region of our state. It's a methane cloud that can be seen from space. It appears as a big red blotch up in the northwest corner of New Mexico. And so it won't surprise you that the community, the Navajo Nation, is right there. And it won't surprise you that the Navajo Nation is suffering one of the highest rates of COVID-19. So if we have all our Navajo Nation children and elders and people breathing in that terrible air every day from all of the methane pollution, it stands to reason that when there is a virus, a respiratory virus that's going around, that it might affect people more than it would if they were in a healthy environment. So those are things that I feel very strongly that we need to fix. The communities of color shouldn't be bearing the brunt of all of these, of the pollution and the things that we should never be happening in the first place. So I know you're with me, otherwise you wouldn't be on this Instagram live with me right now. And if anybody wants to thank you, Debbie Cakes. If anybody wants to, put out any ideas about what else we need to do, I'm always willing to listen. But recently we had the Select Committee on the Climate Crisis Action Plan. That was the Select Committee that Speaker Pelosi put together. It was chaired by Kathy Castor of Florida. A 500-page document that talks about what we need to do to make sure that we can move forward into a renewable energy future. Thank you, Susan. Susan says nuclear power is not clean energy. I think clean energy is renewable energy. Here in New Mexico, we have 350 days of sun per year. And we can absolutely make use of that energy. I had someone the other day tell me that we already have a nuclear power plant. It's the big nuclear power plant in the sky, right? It's the sun that we can use to give us the energy that we need. And I realize that there's going to be a time for a transition, but now is the time for us to act boldly. We have to protect our climate, our planet. We have to protect our climate for future generations. And if things keep getting hotter, that means more species will become extinct. And yes, solar wind is absolutely a deal maker. I just came from eastern New Mexico, where the wind is crazy up there. There's no transmission lines, though, so there's not wind towers in northeastern New Mexico. So I feel like we can do a lot of infrastructure, that we should spend money on infrastructure to make sure that we can make use of all our natural resources like wind and solar to generate the energy that we need, yes, without destroying the planet. That's absolutely right. Another thing I want to do is, when we think about what I mentioned earlier, preserving 30% of our land and waters by 2030, that includes some of the big pieces of our public lands like Bears Ears and Grand Staircase Escalante, that this president has just essentially taken a pen or his Sharpie, I should say, and just taken big swaths of land off. And so, okay, Rep. McEachin joined. I'm waiting for him to give me a request, and then he'll join me, and then you don't just have to listen to me, although Thank you for sticking around. Okay. So, yes, those are the things that we need to work on. And I'm going to wave at a couple folks here. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I appreciate it. So by the time that my friend and colleague Don McEachin joins me, I'll let him do all the talking because you guys are probably tired of hearing me. But absolutely, we absolutely want to protect our environment. So, hello, Rep McEachin. I think you need to click on a request to join me. Hello, Danny. Nice to see you. Thanks for being on. Brylan Cole. Thank you. So, oh, he did that. Go live. Okay, I think it's. Just give us a few minutes. Bear with us. Hello from Southeast Texas. There we are.
Okay, I am technologically incompetent for having me join you.
Trust me.
Have a chance to chat with you.
Well, that makes two of us. So I'm glad you're on because I was feeling like everyone is getting tired of talking or listening to me. But thank you so much, Don, for joining me today. Happy to have you. You are one of my. You've been working on this issue for such a long time, and you're so dedicated. And I am so grateful that you are one of my mentors during my first term in Congress. So let's talk. Give us an update. Just tell us how you're feeling today about climate change, about environmental justice and environmental racism.
Sure. Look, first of all, you on your hard work, David. It's a pleasure to you on the Natural Resource Committee, of that committee, but all Congress has just been so wise to demonstrate their wisdom by rehiring. We're at a special point where we think always moving Confederate. We are thinking of even police brutality. Two things are we would because this is all about racial injustice, justice towards Native Americans, or injustice African Americans 401 years. And so the focus of my work on the Hill, still heartened by the report that came out of this committee, the special task force that the speaker set up, so encouraged by both of which take very center of our response to climate crisis.
Don?
Yes, ma'am.
It's hard for people to hear you.
Is that any better?
I wonder do you have earbuds that you can put in real quick?
I can try to locate some. We're a lot now, but I'll be right back.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. I know this technology isn't always the best, and sorry if you were having a hard time hearing him, but I know he was talking about Confederate statues, right? Finding a new home for those things. Thank you, Peter. He's going to find some earbuds, and perhaps we have an opportunity to hear him better. Thank you.
All right, I have found some. We'll see if this works.
Yeah, let's see if that works. Thanks so much for being so flexible.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Are you on your computer or your phone?
I'm on my phone.
Okay. I am too.
Deb, is this working any better?
I think so. How is it, everybody? Someone give me a comment that you can hear Mr. McEachin.
And please, you know you're supposed to be calling me Donald.
Don. Okay, please continue.
Well, what I was trying to say is that if we just look at this as a moment in time where we're dealing with just Confederate statues or just police brutality, we would have missed the moment. What this is really about is racial injustice, whether it's perpetrated against Native Americans or against African Americans or Latino Americans. This is an opportunity for us to try to rectify those problems. One of the manifestations of those problems is the environmental justice movement, where we need to make sure that we take seriously the plight of our Black, brown, and tribal communities, as well as our poor communities, and the historic injustices they have faced when it comes to the placement of environmental hazards. And that's why I'm heartened. Both Kathy Castor, as you know, who headed up the commission on, or the committee on climate change that the speaker had the wisdom to create, or whether it's the Biden climate crisis plan, both of those plans take environmental justice and place it at the very heart of what they're trying to accomplish.
Yes, that's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for all your work on that. So I'm so grateful for the work you've done to lead this effort, and I'm glad we've been able to work on environmental justice together. Yesterday, we got some terrible news. I mentioned this earlier, that President Trump gutted the environmental protections in the National Environment Protection Act. Tell us what impacts this will have on climate justice.
Oh, well, it have a profoundly negative impact, quite frankly. The reality is that one of the things that he is attacking is the notion of cumulative impact. And what cumulative impact is all about is not looking at a new project as a silo and what it will do to a particular community, but looking at everything that's happening in that community, prior projects, current projects, and the project that's being slated. What he's really doing is presidential malpractice when it comes to the environment. But we have an opportunity to rectify all that in November by electing a responsible green Congress, both House and Senate, and a responsible green president in Joe Biden.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much for your leadership. Our country has the potential to be a world leader in combating climate change by revolutionizing our economy through clean energy. And you know, right now we're under an administration that thinks coal is still the future, which is a little off base, but he hasn't been that great on the economy anyway. Our 100% Clean Economy Act will deliver a bold new deal for our families. So will you talk about that, Don?
Sure, and you've been such a leader on that, Deb, so thank you for your work in that regard. But what we're really talking about is revolutionizing our economy and creating family-sustaining green jobs. We're talking about making sure the communities in transition have the funds to transition from a fossil fuel economy to a green economy, both in terms of opportunities, in terms of placing businesses there, as well as training there. We're talking about taking our frontline communities that we also call environmental justice communities and giving them those same opportunities to have those businesses located right in their neighborhoods so they can have an opportunity to get a piece of these new family-sustaining and union-paying jobs. We're going to have to be innovative, which is going to mean that we're going to create some new technologies that are going to result in new industries and new jobs. It's going to be an exciting time to be alive as we move forward in the 21st century, greening our economy.
Excellent, excellent. So, Don, what else do you think our followers need to know today about climate justice, about climate change, about the work that we will continue to do even into the next Congress?
Well, what they need to understand is that one of the reasons why the Biden people and the Sanders people came together with relative ease on this issue is because we have insisted, both sides, on following the science. And that's so incredibly important in this area. You know, we can quibble about a dollar here, a dollar there. We can quibble about whether we're going to get something done by year X or year Y, as long as it's all done before 2050. We can have that discussion. But as long as we're following the science, we're going to be all right. And that's what both sides are committed to do. That's what the Democratic Party has committed to do. Follow the science and get this done. And hopefully, once we've removed Trump from the equation, our Republican brothers and sisters will do likewise, follow the science and work with us in that regard.
So that gives me a segue into reminding everyone that we're still in a pandemic. And if you were going out, wear your mask. Wear your mask, stay 6 feet away from people, wash your hands, use hand sanitizer. Don't spread this thing because that will just make things a lot worse. So thank you, Don. Thanks for joining me today. I'm glad we were able to figure out the technology together.
I'm sorry I'm so incompetent, but Deb, it's good to see you, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, sure will. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.